Hello and welcome to one of my favourite circuits. We're at Suzuka for round 3 of the Skip Barber series in iRacing. I've been looking forward to this one ever since the schedule was released because I've done a lot of laps around here, particularly in the F4 car in Race Room. It's a cracking track for open wheel racing and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into it in the Skip Barber today. Early signs are really promising. We've managed to put it third on the grid with a decent time of 2:29.2. However, more than half the grid have elected not to put in a qualifying time, so there's a lot of wildcards in there. We'll only truly know our pace in relation to the rest of the field once we get going. So without further ado, let's get over to the grid and join the live action to see how we get on. Got away pretty well there off the line, and in fact I think we've got a better start than the pole sitter Nakashima. He's looking a little bit sluggish. I've certainly got more pace than him, but I don't want to go around the outside, and I just didn't have room to cut to the inside with Jose Roman there, so I've actually lost that position. Roman's nipped in and taken third, and he might have taken second as well. Yeah, he's got around Nakashima. So we've slipped a position to 4th, but I'm not too worried about that at this stage. The first few corners are all about staying safe, keeping it steady. The tyres aren't up to temperature yet, so there's not much grip out there. In practice and qualifying, I was finding it a lot easier to slide the car around at Suzuka than I did at Sonoma last week, but I don't want to do it yet while these tyres are still cold. And as I say that, we've lost the race leader! Dylan Campbell has disappeared in a cloud of his own smoke, and we're back up to 3rd. Just as I was going to say how easy it is to lose these cars on cold tyres, and we've lost Jose Roman as well. He's going to spear back across the track. I panicked. I thought I needed to take evasive action. I went out onto the grass, and I've just thrown it away. Oh, that was a desperately disappointing mistake. I saw Jose lose control in front of me and I saw him heading back across the track. I tried to readjust my line, but I fell victim to the cold tyres too. I was just a bit too heavy on the wheel, changed direction too sharply, and the car just didn't want to play ball. I've got no idea now what position I'm in. I think most of the field went past me when I was stuck in that sand trap. It seemed to take an age to get out of the gravel there. We've got 3 cars behind us, and in a field of 14 I make it that puts me 11th. Desperately disappointing. We're in 3rd position and we've thrown it all away. The most frustrating thing about it all is that had I not decided to try and readjust my line, if I'd just stayed on the racing line, I'd have probably been okay. Jose was spinning to the right and headed towards the infield, so if I'd just stayed on that outside line we would have been okay. It would have been easy to avoid. But in the heat of battle, you've only got a split second to react, and I made the wrong decision there. So now we've just got to hope that a few other drivers come a cropper and we can gain back some positions that way. Certainly a couple of the spins in front of me look like they might have touched the wall, so maybe there's some damage, maybe there's some pit stops needed, and it looks like there might have been another instant ahead because we've gained right up on these 2 drivers here, so I suspect there might have been a collision. I'm not going to be in a hurry to try and get around him. Let's just see if he goes into the pits. He's certainly not running very fast, and yes, he is going for repairs, so that's 1 position back at least, and we're going to cross the line now, so we'll see exactly where we are, and it looks like we're 6th. Wow, incredible. I wasn't expecting us to be that high up the field, and it looks like there's as many as 5 drivers in the pits having repairs done. Dramatic scenes on lap 1 at Suzuka. So let's go back and check out the replay and see if we can piece together exactly what happened to give me back all those positions at the end of lap 1. We'll begin at the start, and I got away really well. I'm tucked in behind the pole sitter Nakashima, number 3 at the moment. I had more speed than him, but I didn't have the room to get around the inside, and as a result I had to leave a gap. That let Jose Roman through. He nipped up the inside to take my 3rd position. So at the moment I'm sitting comfortable in 4th as we see a huge cloud of smoke in the background, so clearly someone has lost it on turn 1. But yeah, for us, we're sitting comfortably in 4th place. And then just a couple of corners later, we lose our race leader, Dylan Campbell in the Monster Energy car. Look at him sliding it through these S's. He's pushing the car to its limit, and then he pushes it just a little bit too far on the next corner. The car says no, and he slides nose first into the barrier, giving away the lead. And that mistake from Campbell promoted Jose Roman into first place, but he too threw it away just a couple of corners later, and unfortunately he took me with him, albeit inadvertently and indirectly. Just see the rear start to step out there, and he tried to save it, but he couldn't. And that's the point when I tried to readjust my line to avoid him, but ended up running onto the grass myself. This is a better view from my onboard. Yeah, I just tried to move to the inside, but the tyres were too cold. There wasn't enough grip. Actually, I was really lucky spearing back across the track that I didn't take anyone else with me. But yeah, really disappointing mistake. I wish I'd just stayed on the normal racing line and been able to avoid it safely, but instead I end up spinning around in the gravel and seeing half the field race past, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I rejoined the race in what I thought was 11th place, but it didn't take us long to catch up with a couple of the other back markers, and that's because of this incident. That's Sebastian Prusabil losing the rear end on that fast left-hander on the approach to the final chicane. And then as we surged down the start and finish straight to end lap 1, we gained a load more positions because there were so many cars in the pits having repairs. So a look at the replay tells us that it was a big incident in turn 1 behind us that was the cause. I was oblivious to it as I was concentrating what was going on ahead, but you can see 3 cars getting tangled up there and crashing out big style. We're riding on board now with the number 9, James Lodge, and he tries to put it through the middle of the 2 cars in front of him, but he just gets squeezed out, and that's what causes the wreck. We lost the number 6 on the outside, that's Michael Gayford, and also the number 4 on the inside, Scott Kidd. Scott tried to keep on going, but the damage was just too much, and it was his cloud of smoke that we saw in the background. That car's undrivable, so yeah, all 3 of them back to the pits. So it's just over a second now, the gap to Mark Breer in front, 1.2 seconds to be precise, and I certainly think we've got the pace to catch him up fairly quickly. I still don't want to push the car too hard at this early stage of the race. We're only on the start of lap 2. Once those tyres get a bit warmer, it's really easy to slide the car through that S's section that we've just come through. But for now, I'm going to take it very easily. We don't want any more catastrophes. But yeah, we are reeling that gap in to Breer in front now. We're right on his tail as we exit this right-hander. And in fact, he's going to pull over and let us by, so I'll give him a thanks. And that's put us up to 5th position, which I certainly wouldn't have expected a lap ago when I was bogged down in that gravel trap. So now we've got to look forward and see who we've got next. It's Dylan Campbell. Dylan was the race leader who crashed out at the end of the S's on lap 1. He's 4.9 seconds further ahead. So normally I wouldn't think I had the speed to catch up with him, but he did hit the wall when he spun off, so he might be carrying some damage. If he is, it might cost him a little bit of speed, and it might just give us a chance to close him in. Let's just keep an eye on that relative board in the bottom right and see if that time, that gap does start to come down. What is it now? It's 5 seconds exactly, so we're certainly going to have to push if we're going to be able to bridge that distance. More slow car ahead and a cloud of smoke, so we've lost someone. Is it Dylan again? No, Dylan's still in front. It's Jared Eldred. Jared was in 3rd, so he's crashed out of a podium position. That's put us up to 4th. Dylan Campbell's promoted to 3rd. I'm up to 4th at the end of lap 2. And Jared Eldred is out of the top 3. And there's the confirmation from the crew chief. We're in 4th. Yeah, let's check out the replay and see what happened to Jared Eldred, and he's another victim of this fast left-hander, just losing the rear, and look how close Dylan Campbell came to being collected up to. Dylan got very lucky there. So what's the gap going to be across the line? It's down to about 2 seconds now, so we've halved that gap to Dylan Campbell ahead. That's really encouraging. We've clearly got a bit of pace on him. And he's going to have to deal with a back marker now as well by the looks of things. Rudiger Schulte is right in front of him, so hopefully it might slow down Dylan a little bit more and I can catch up with the pair of them. No, Dylan's got around him, so now I've got to deal with getting past Schulte. He's carrying the number 1 plate, so that suggests that he might be quite a fast driver, so I'm going to have my wits about me here. I don't want to get sucked into a battle with a back marker. I want to try and get around cleanly and safely. But we'll see what Schulte's like. Is he going to let me past or is he going to defend? We're not quite close enough yet, but we're going to be very shortly. Oh, he's running it out a little bit wide there. In fact, he's gone way too wide. Is he going to lose it? Oh, I thought for a moment he was going to get out of shape when he touched the grass. He managed to save it, but he left the gap for me to get through. Oh, my heart was in my mouth for a moment there. I could just see him spearing back across the track right into my path, and it would have been game over, but thankfully he managed to save that spin. These Skip Barber cars are never easy to control when you get 2 wheels out on the gravel, and he managed it, so I'm grateful for that. We're still in the race, and we're closing in on Dylan Campbell now. It's 1.4 seconds the gap. So we've really got some pace on Dylan here. We've got to be with him within the next half a lap for sure. Let's just keep on pushing. We're 4 laps in now, so the tyres should be up to temperature. We can start pushing the car a little bit more and hopefully have the grip. Yeah, Campbell is really sliding the rear through that turn, and in fact he ran a little bit wide on exit. He took a lot of the curb there, and that's going to cost him some momentum. Surely we've got a really good drive on him. That gap is down to 0.4 of a second now. In fact, we might have enough speed from his draft to get around him here. Let's push up the inside. It's not normally a position I like to overtake, but we've got the pace to get it done. But Campbell's going to fight back for more. He's going to come along the outside. I've got the inside line into the chicane here, but have we got enough guts to hold it? No, we haven't. Campbell gets the position back. He ran it around the outside. He was braver than I was there. Well, that was great racing, and now we've got to push again because that gap's back up to 0.8 of a second as I didn't have the line that I wanted through the chicane. It's cost me a few valuable tenths, but once again on the straight we seem to have the power. I'm going to get right behind him again and pull out. Oh, he's going to pull out and defend. Oh, I panicked for a moment then. I thought we were going to touch, and it's put me a bit out of shape. We have touched now. Campbell went wide, but he's managed to save it. Thankfully, he didn't crash. We've got the position back, but that was far closer than I wanted it to be. But we've got the position now as we weave through the S's. Surely we've got that sewn up. Oh, no, we haven't. Campbell's coming back up the inside again. Surely he can't squeeze through. He has done. Oh, this is getting dramatic now. The gloves are off at Suzuka. This is one hell of a battle between me and Campbell. I'm staggered that he had the pace to dive up the inside like that and get it stopped and turned into the corner while holding the line. It was an incredible pass, and we've got a yellow flag out. Have we lost someone else ahead? I can see a car in the distance, but it looks like it's a back marker. I did ease off the gas just a little bit when I saw the yellow flag. Campbell didn't. That's given him a few tenths. The gap's back to a second now, so we're going to have to do it all again. Well, first, we've got to get around the back marker. Let's hope we can do it safely. Campbell gets really close to him there. They almost touched. In fact, they might have done. But we're both past. He's let us by. Another thanks to you there. We've gone past safely. And once again, we're in Campbell's draft and we've got the pace. If I can get around him on the outside here, I'll have the inside line for the next turn. But oh no, there's no room. On the outside, we're on the grass. I'm never going to save this. We spear back across the track. Lost complete control. And once again, I've blown it. Oh, the adrenaline was pumping after that battle with Campbell through the S's, and I think it was just a rush of blood to the head on my part. I was carrying way too much speed to make that pass stick, and it's cost me big time. Campbell 6 seconds clear. And before we look at the replay of that mistake, let's just enjoy some of the highlights of this fantastic battle between Campbell and I. It started here where I had the pace to pull alongside him and tuck it up the inside. I managed to get the pass done before we made it to this fast left-hander, but Campbell anticipated that I might just have run it a little bit wide. He pounces, and although he's got the outside, he's got the bravery to get it done and carry the speed around the outside of the chicane to get that position straight back. does appear that Campbell is carrying front wing damage from that spin on lap 1, and it's certainly costing him speed because I was right back on his tail. But look, as I pull out to overtake, he pulls out to defend. At the same time, I panic and I almost lose control as I take avoiding action, but then when I come back onto the line, we can't avoid the contact. Thankfully, Campbell holds onto it. He runs a bit wide, but he doesn't spin. And I was thinking after that exchange that I'd got the position sewn up, but no, look at this move. He sizes me up and he pounces at the inside of that left-hander, and he just has the room to slide the car in front of me, take the position back again. Let's switch to some of the onboard angles now, and we can see just how close we got to each other. This is down the start and finish straight, and as I pull out, I have to swerve as he thinks about defending. That gets me offline. When I get back online, we touch there. Campbell goes out wide. He manages to hold on to it, but it was really close. I think we both picked up some incident points for that contact. But yeah, if I thought I'd got the job done here, I had to think again. Because here comes the move in retaliation. He's going to dive up the inside. There's just enough room to slide the car with millimeters to spare. Incredible action. However, what happened later in the lap was anything but incredible. My plan was to pull up alongside him around the outside, so it gave me the inside line for the upcoming left-hander, but I was just carrying way too much speed. I was never going to get the move stuck, and look how close I came. Not once, but twice to getting collected as I was completely out of control and spearing across the track. Let's ride on board now with Rudiger Schulte. He was the first of 2 back markers who I almost took out with this attempt at a pass. You can see Schulte anticipates it and he just eases off the gas, and I'm glad he did because that gave me the chance to go across. But then look, I come back across the track again into the path of another back marker. That unlucky driver was Matthew Combadon, and he came even closer to hitting me. Look how out of shape I am, and as I come back onto the track, oh, that's how close it was to catastrophe. So we're just going to cross the line to start lap 7, and unfortunately that gap is still 6.4 seconds to Campbell ahead. It's going to be a tough ask to bridge that gap again and get past him. We've got 5 laps of the race left, so it could be done. We're certainly faster than him on the straights. That damage is really costing him top speed. But have we got enough in the tank to get it all done again? We did a 2:29.8 on that last lap, so our pace is getting better. As the fuel load gets lighter, we're beginning to put in some good lap times now. If we can get down to the low 2:29s, I'll feel confident that we can reel Dylan Campbell in. Although we might not have to wait that long, it looks like he's come to grief. Yeah, he must have done. That gap's down to 2.2 seconds. So the race is on again. Here we can see the replay to find out exactly what happened to him, and yeah, he just runs it a little bit wide out of the S's. That rear left tyre clips the gravel and he gets all out of shape, and I'm amazed he managed to save that as well as he did. That's a fantastic rescue from Campbell. Well, the one thing we learnt from that battle earlier in the race is that although Campbell is lacking top speed, he more than makes up for it in guts. If I get past him, he's going to try and bite back as quickly as he can. So this time, if I'm going to get around him, I'm going to have to make sure that I work my hardest to make it stick. And I can't afford any more mistakes like that. I just ran it too hot into the chicane. We went in way too deep. That's lost some valuable time, and Campbell's opened up a gap to 1.5 seconds now. We really didn't do ourselves any favours just then. What's the latest lap time? It's another 2:29.8. So we're lapping consistently at least, and we're running a good pace. I do feel confident that we'll be right back on Campbell's tail within the next half a lap or so. Maybe even sooner if he gets a bit offline going through the S's. He looked like he just ran a little bit wide there. I'm sure he's pushing to try and keep ahead. Let's watch his line to see if there's any mistake at all that we could possibly capitalise on. He's running a little bit wide there, and that was where he came to grief a lap or two ago. He must have come pretty close to doing it again then, but managed to keep his tyres on the tarmac just. But we've got some real drive out of this section, so we're right back on his tail now. Oh, he's on the grass again. He's trying to find every inch of the track, and again, look. Campbell is just trying his hardest to stay in front of me here. He knows that I've got more speed than him, and he's working so hard to try and keep me at bay. Hopefully he's fighting a losing battle. If we can get on the gas early out of this hairpin, we should be able to get in his draft again. Although I'm learning my lessons from before, I'm certainly not going to try and run it around the outside this time. We'll just be a bit more cautious and a bit more patient. It was a rash move before, and I paid the price for it. I'm certainly not going to be making that mistake again, but yeah, we are right with him. So let's see what we can do through this section of left-handers. If we can get on the gas early, we'll be in his draft down this long straight, and I fancy that this might be the place to get the pass done. We passed him here earlier in the race. He bit back then, but if we can get it done a little bit earlier and keep my line a little bit tighter. Here we go. We've got the power. We might even be able to tap back in on the racing line. That's going to really help when we get to this fast left-hander, because we're not going to drift wide, and we should be able to defend better. Yeah, we've got a much better advantage this time. Campbell, I'm sure, is going to have a bite back as we come into the chicane. Is he going to tuck it up the inside? I closed the line off. There's no room for him. He thought about it, but there was nowhere to go. We've made the move stick, thankfully. And hopefully with the long start and finish straight, we should be able to use our speed advantage to open up a half a second gap or so. There's the confirmation from the crew chief. We're back into a podium position. An unlikely podium position after crashing out on lap 1. And we've opened up a bit of a gap to Dylan Campbell. There's a bit of breathing room. And I think now if we can find our rhythm, we should be okay. Yeah, here's a replay of the pass, and once again I'm using my speed advantage to get alongside Campbell early and then managing to get back onto the racing line. That was the crucial part of the pass, because it gave me the right line to take this turn as fast as I could and defend the line. I knew that Dylan would come back and have a sniff if he could, so I made sure I cut the line off tight. He still had a look, but there was no room, so he had to back out and then get it on the gas early out of the chicane. I had the speed advantage to pull away down the start and finish straight. What a battle with Dylan. So yeah, after one of the most crazy and intense battles I've ever had in iRacing, we approached the start of the final lap, feeling a bit lonely. To be honest, I was grateful for the breather, but we were still setting some pretty good lap times. We'd just done a 2:29.0 and then we topped that with a 2:28.7. And if you look at the relative board at the bottom right of the screen, you'll notice that there's no fourth position. Dylan Campbell has disappeared, so I can only assume that he's run out of fuel. There are certainly some really fine margins when it comes to fuel consumption in this race at Suzuka. You'll have just seen the alert that I got there saying I've got 1 lap of fuel left. Thankfully we're on the last lap, so we've just got enough to bring it home. But yeah, unfortunately for Dylan, it looks like his race came to an end early when his fuel tank ran empty. Meanwhile, my closest challenger now is Michael Gayford. He's in 4th, but he's 20 seconds behind, so I've got nothing to worry about there. All I've got to do now is concentrate on getting this car around for one final time safely, and we'll get our first podium finish of the season in the Skip Barber series. And after the disappointment of that opening lap spin, I never expected to be approaching the final lap of the race in a podium position. It's an incredible turnaround, and it just goes to show you should always expect the unexpected in sim racing. It was a cracking battle with Dylan too. I certainly can't remember another wheel-to-wheel tussle as intense or as close as that one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I do know that I had the speed advantage over Dylan. He was carrying damage from that spin on lap 1. I wonder what the battle would have been like had we both been on an even playing field in terms of speed. I suspect that Dylan might have been a bit faster than me, but fair play to him. He drove the wheels off that car, trying to get everything he could out of it under what must have been really difficult circumstances, trying to control it with that damaged front wing. So yeah, huge credit to Dylan, and yeah, big thank you to him as well, because I've enjoyed this race more than any other in recent memory in iRacing. It's been fantastic. So as we approach the finish line for the last time and the checkered flag, I'm interested to see what lap time we're doing, because it still feels like we're pushing really hard. It does feel like an incredibly fast lap. We've got a 2:28.7 to beat, and as we cross the line to take our podium position, what's the lap time? 2:28.2, so yeah, fastest lap by some distance. And a plus 35 on the iRating as well. That's pleasing to see. Finally getting back above that 1200 mark. And even with those spins, we get a little bit of an increase to safety rating too, up to 3.46. So yeah, what a race. And let's get confirmation of that podium finish with the classified results. And there we are in third, behind Oliver Filmer in second, and the race winner, Takumi Nakashima. Yeah, just looking at the fastest lap times, and Nakashima was in a class of his own, wasn't he? A fastest lap of 2:26.6. He's almost 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field. My best was that 2:28.2. And to be fair, that's a pretty competitive lap time in this grid. On another day, without those spins, I think I would have had the pace to get that second position. So anyway, that wraps up another Skip Barber adventure. If you've enjoyed watching the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And of course, feel free to subscribe to or check out some of my other videos. I really appreciate all the support. Cheers, guys. See you later.